There are some blood test results that absolutely mean nothing. And then there's certain blood test results that can really give you a good snapshot and insight into your overall health. So in this video, let's take a look at the most important blood tests that you need to consider doing. What's up guys, my name is Lucas, the founder of Ergogenic Health, and my mission is quite simple. It's to bring you the most cutting edge health information that you'll struggle to find on Google. So please, if you don't care about your health, please do not subscribe to my channel. So obviously today we're here to discuss some of the most important blood test results that you need to consider doing. Now just bear in mind that blood test results are just tools in our toolkit to understand how our general health is and to understand a little bit about our physiology. So just bear in mind that although blood tests are important, they can be, a bit of a snapshot to gauge our overall health. So the very first blood test marker that you really need to consider testing is your fasting insulin. Fasting insulin is perhaps one of the most important blood test results that most doctors neglect and most doctors ignore unless your fasting blood sugar levels are very high. Bear in mind the function of insulin in the body, well, one of the main functions of insulin in the body is to help to shuttle glucose from the blood into various organs and tissues. One thing to bear in mind is that insulin resistance is a state characterized by poor ability to distribute and dispose of glucose utilizing insulin. Now, what we know is that our fasting blood insulin levels actually tend to rise before someone becomes diabetic or type 2 diabetic. Now, the reason why this is so important is that we can start to detect and analyze, predict pre-diabetes based on somebody's fasting insulin. This insulin result is measured in micro units per milliliter, and unfortunately there isn't much agreement around what the ideal fasting blood level should be. However, some health websites such as Health Central say it should be between 10 to 20, whereas other doctors like Dr. McCullough recommends it being less than 5. In my opinion, the ideal fasting insulin result is somewhere between 2 and 5. Now, a study in Arizona found that women with a fasting insulin level of around 8 had twice the risk of pre-diabetes as did women with the fasting level of around 5. Women with a fasting insulin of 25 or so had 5 times the risk of pre-diabetes. The average insulin level in the US is approximately 8.8 milliunits per mil for men and 8.4 for women. Ideally, in my opinion, the ideal range for fasting insulin is between 2 to 5. Now you can see in this diagram, we're looking at the blood glucose levels, and we can see that insulin resistance is phase 1, which develops before someone becomes type 2 diabetic. And then phase 2 is a decreased insulin secretion response, which is usually due to damage or destruction of the body's receptor sites and sensitivity to insulin. So therefore, it is absolutely paramount to request your fasting insulin levels, and bear in mind you only need to be fasting for about 12 to 14 hours before this particular test. And bear in mind you'll also be able to see a link to purchase a blood test without a doctor. You'll see that linked in the video description below. The next blood test result that you need to consider looking into is actually a thyroid panel. Now, this is specifically a range of tests. It's not just one test by itself. However, what you'll see many doctors will test is your basic TSH, which is your thyroid stimulating hormone. Now, thyroid stimulating hormone tells us pretty much nothing about your overall thyroid hormone output, and usually this result measured on its own gives us barely any idea on how strong your metabolic health is. So realistically, what we want to be looking at is a basic thyroid panel that includes TSH, free T4, and free T3. This would be considered good. If you can get these done, that would be, that's a good overall snapshot. Then something better would be a basic thyroid panel plus antibodies. So looking at TSH, free T3, free T4, TPO antibodies, and TG antibodies. Then a comprehensive thyroid panel would be the best, which looks at TSH, total T4, free T3, reverse T3, TPO antibodies, and thyroglobulin antibodies. The reason why this particular panel is so important is because there are so many people walking around with subclinical hypothyroidism, which is a sluggish metabolism. And if we have a look at many of the symptoms associated with hypothyroidism, it's many of the symptoms that 80% of people complain about, which is low energy, low motivation, low sex drive, brittle nails, poor digestion, constipation. I mean, if you're struggling with any of these symptoms, please do assess your full thyroid panel, and please request to get more than just your TSH, because that TSH value pretty much tells us absolutely nothing. Again, you will see a link to get a blood test down below in the video description, all without a doctor. Then the next blood test result that I think is absolutely paramount to be testing is your homocysteine. Now, this particular homocysteine plays a huge role in determining various aspects of our health. Now, total plasma homocysteine levels has been implicated in cardiovascular disease, kidney disease, diabetes, lupus. It can affect even things like our bone structure and even cancer. One thing that we need to realize is that getting a homocysteine result can give us an insight into our body's ability to methylate. So homocysteine can dramatically affect what's known as methylation. In fact, homocysteine is a marker of good methylation in the body. Now we can see here that low homocysteine, less than 6, may indicate low glutathione status or a lower antioxidant defense, whereas high homocysteine can reflect poor ability to methylate. So we would need to be factoring in vitamins B6, B9, and B12 as the main sort of methyl donors. Just keep an eye out for your fasting homocysteine levels, and please do assess your B vitamins as well. So just to recap, the 3 blood test results that you need to do. Number 1 is fasting insulin. Number 2, we have a comprehensive thyroid panel. So that's TSH, free T4, free T3, TPO antibodies, TG antibodies, and also reverse T3. And then finally, assessing your homocysteine levels, as these 3 blood tests are really crucial to determine your quality of health. If you found this video helpful, please do like this video, hit subscribe down below. If you want more amazing content, feel free to drop a comment down below. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.